Hey guys, thank you for being here. So we are here now with our amazing customer, Brandon from HBJR Holdings. And we have got this opportunity to do a video case study with Brandon and just ask about the experience, how Xorosoft has improved the business processes of the company and how it has just improved the overall productivity of the team. So Brian, I will hand it over to you, and let's have a chat with Brandon.
Cool, thanks, Yad. So my name's Brian. I'm the director of sales with Xorosoft. As Yad introduced, Brandon Siegel over here on Zoom. Brandon is with a company based in Vancouver, BC, called HBJR Holdings. And maybe I'll just let Brandon kind of take over and introduce himself, his company, and what they do.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's and thanks for inviting me. It's nice to be here. Just a little background on our company. Overall, we're a consumer packaged goods company. Started in 2012, based in Vancouver, British Columbia here. The first company we started is called Dr. Siegel's. We make fashionable compression and diabetic socks, selling both business to business, B2B and B2C, throughout North America on a number of different platforms and ways. If we fast forward to 2015, we started another company called Pudu's Lifestyle Company, really more on the clothing and apparel side. Started with slipper socks and developed into other sorts of slippers and now into apparel. And then 2017, we started a company called Pika, which is a third brand, which is kind of a knockoff of the Pudu's brand, which allows us just to channel manage and sell to different areas and stuff like that, and still provide value and keep our customers happy.
Awesome, perfect. So yeah, as I mentioned, I think we started our relationship back in 2017, early 2018. And I know that at that time you were using another software application. So what drove you to select an ERP, and if you feel like sharing, what made you make the choice to go with Xorosoft?
Yeah, good question. So when we were kind of coming through there, our sales had been growing for a number of years. The business was becoming a little bit more complex. At that time we were using QuickBooks, which was a local. There's actually QuickBooks with a layered on top software called Fishbowl, which sort of helped to give a bit more analytics onto it. It was all a local setup. It was set up on our server within our office. It would jam 1 to 2 to 3 times a day. We'd have to shut the whole thing down and restart it, and we'd have user issues and all sorts of stuff. And then that doesn't even take into account moving around. And in today's day, obviously we have a lot of work from home and remote sort of stuff and travel and things like that. If I were to be on the road at that time, I couldn't get access to the software. There were so many different issues that were going on with it. And so we at that point didn't even have any outside connections. We didn't have any EDI connections. We didn't have any 3PL connections. We didn't have any Shopify connections. None of that. So it was very simple, basic setup, Fishbowl and QuickBooks. And so we had sort of seen a bit of a ceiling that we needed a little bit more complexities of what we could offer. We started looking around and quickly came up with Xorosoft and then went from there with.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So yeah, I mean, obviously it's been a number of years since you went through the whole onboarding and implementation process. I'm not going to expect you to remember all the intricacies of how that went. I mean, obviously you're here and you're still with us. But maybe talk about the Xoro team, customer service, just your general experience working with Xorosoft.
Obviously I think there's more people involved now than there were back then. But for me, I feel like the experience is maintained the whole time between you. I mean, I know that, we've gone for lunch a number of times and Yad, you as well. And, for me, the team, and this is, we talk internally about this too, is that it's not just somebody that you're going to be another customer on another account manager's list that, you can't really get anything to move or get your voice heard or anything like that. For me, it's something that, if we need, upgrade's not the right word, but, some other part of it,
configuration,
something like that. It's something that we can be heard, and maybe it doesn't happen tomorrow, but it does happen over time. And I see that in product updates that are coming out is stuff I'm like, wow, that's something that I've been thinking about. Somebody else obviously has asked for it, or you guys have identified it or whatever. But overall, I found from day one up until today, whether it's putting in a ticket and getting a response, or sending an email to get some new program feature put in or something like that, it's been very well received. So there's kind of family's kind of a big word, but it feels like a bit of a family of how the whole thing works. You're not just a number in the whole thing.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, obviously it goes both ways. We treat all of our customers like family, and want to provide the best experience that we can provide to everybody, whether that's customer service or updates or just new experiences. So yeah, thanks. So yeah, you'd mentioned that your previous system was offline. Obviously, your business is primarily online these days. I think we lost count on how many Shopify connections you have, but I know that there's a lot of data coming and going with Xoro and your operations. Maybe talk a little bit about how the Shopify experience is with Xoro. Obviously, Shopify being one of our premier partnerships from a vendor perspective, but how is that translated into making your business more efficient? Obviously, being 100% manual prior to Xoro, but obviously with a lot of the efficiencies that we have built in, it must make that sales channel work very effectively.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think we have 15 connected. That was the number from the other day, which is quite a bit. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, Shopify, it takes up, and now there's been the new feature with the reconciliation portion of it. But really, yeah. I mean, just from base sort of conversation is Shopify and Xorosoft speak to each other. Data gets pushed back with respect to inventory availability. On a site, you can point it at certain inventory and things like that. As orders come in, they're automatically, we can change the cadence of it, but we can set the inbound from Shopify to Xoro, that cadence of how quickly they're downloaded to Xorosoft. And then from there, depending on the different site or whatever, we have it set to either auto allocate or to not auto allocate, depending on how we want to do it. Then it goes to our third-party warehouse, to our 3PL. They do their thing. They get the order, they pick it, they pack it, they ship it. Data gets sent back to Xorosoft automatically. And then whether it's through a secure FTP with some of our warehouses or through an API, just depending on how that's set up, back to Xorosoft, closes the order off in Xorosoft, and then from there back to Shopify. So it's I mean, I don't want to say it's perfect in the perfect world. It's as close to perfect as we can get it. I think we have like 99.8% perfection. I mean, again, the jamming rate is very, 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 very small. So I think overall, I don't think it takes somebody. I don't really think we ever look at it, to be honest. I mean, we've built, and this is something, and Brian, I'll share with you, we built something in the background just looking, and this is not at Xorosoft specifically, this is just in general. We have a tool that looks at our system at Xorosoft versus the warehouse to make sure that the data is actually made it properly, and it alerts us if anything is not there. And it happens once every couple of months that we see it, but nothing crazy there. So overall, I mean, it's a very much automated process and something we don't have to deal with at all. It's a great process.
I think what I wanted to get at is that you're currently running 15 Shopify stores connected to multiple 3PLs, and I don't even know if we're going to talk about your flash sale business here or not, but that might be another case study in itself.
It's a good point. I mean, some days they'll get 4,000 orders in 3 hours, 2 hours, and sure. It handles that without any problems. I mean, I know when we first did it, I reached out to Yad a bunch of times. I'm like, Yad, are you sure? Are we sure we can do it? Sure enough, it did it. So it was so it's great. Overall, great. I would say A+ on it for sure.
That's awesome. Great. Great. So, I mean, obviously, there's the relationship that we have with you, that you have with us, but perhaps the most important relationship in this entire mix is your relationship with your customers. Is there any sort of tangible feedback or KPIs that you manage to really understand how a system like ours can affect your customer experience, your customers' experience with your brands that you represent?
Yeah, I mean, I think things like, being able to send secure payment links to them is something that breeds trust with the customers. We've been able to set it up so that there's automated emails that go out with surveys and stuff like that after things have shipped.
Very cool.
Yeah, or after orders have shipped and stuff like that. I think overall, again, with the way it's set up for us with the 3PLs being automated and, data flowing back, they can get tracking numbers and stuff like that pretty easily and stuff like that. So, I think, overall it's great for the customers and it's allowed us to sort of build the business and work on retention of customers and also going and getting new customers as well.
Perfect. So again, with HBJR being with Xorosoft for as long as you have, you've been through lots of different iterations of our software as far as updates and new enhancements and features and things of that nature. If we want to kind of focus in specifically on reporting, I know that early days you're privy to perhaps a smaller reporting package that we had to offer, and have since rolled out a new advanced reporting application, and you are also among kind of a select few clients who actually have your Xorosoft hooked up to a third-party reporting system where you're using, I believe, Power BI. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yep.
So maybe speak on kind of how that has improved your visibility into your Xoro data, but also, I think you mentioned a minute ago that you can put the Xoro data beside your 3PL data. Is there any other data sets that you're analyzing?
And I think that the challenge is that every company needs reporting in different ways, right? What anybody wants to see, I mean, of course, there's basic stuff and whatever, but everybody's is different. So, I think, and I can't remember the exact year, it's probably 2020-ish in there, where the reporting server was released. And for me, what it allowed, I mean, one of the problems, is that there's data now in the world from so many different places. And so what it, and it, again, no way in the world that Xoro is going to be able to get the data for every different company. And so what we did is we took the ability to sort of look at the data out from Xorosoft in a third party in Power BI and matched up against Shopify data and matched up against Google Sheets. We have helper tables that help with that, and a lot of different stuff. We can slice and dice different rep groups and see what they did in different territories and see what sales look like and stuff like that. And I think just that ability to get into that reporting server is it's infinitely powerful because you can develop whatever you want, right? And again, it's nothing wrong with it, but for me to go to you guys every time and say I need this report and then wait and you guys do it and go back and forth 100 times, or we just do it internally and build it ourselves for what we need. I mean, that to me is the huge value, but the data is all in real time, which is hugely powerful. And literally, I can be on a flight somewhere and see it, or I can be whatever, doesn't matter, sit at my desk here or whatever it is, and you can see the data, and it's hugely powerful. So, and honestly, it's never glitched, which is fantastic. And again, coming back from when we had the fishbowl QuickBooks set up, it was like, once a day, twice a day kind of thing. And it's amazing the power ability of it.
Cool. Well, no, we totally appreciate your time and your candidness here. This has been great. I guess the last question I have is if there's a prospective Xorosoft client watching this video, if you were to give any kind of words of advice or even just anybody just looking to make that leap into an ERP system, hopefully a Xorosoft, but if not, just moving from a QuickBooks or a Xero into an ERP landscape, what advice can you give to people? Would you recommend our company? And I'll let you go from there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't see a situation where it wouldn't be a great fit. I mean, honestly, whether it's really, there's so many areas that Xorosoft could be great in, and so if it wasn't a great system, I wouldn't be here for coming on 6 years, which is pretty awesome. So I give it 2 thumbs up, and you guys are great, and it's been great so far.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Brandon, and hope you have a great year ahead.
For sure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Brandon. It was great having you.
Thanks a lot.